So Mark, what would you say has been your biggest success from using LinkedIn? Like what's the biggest, I'm not talking about, the actual dollars, but what's been the biggest thing that you've got? Like a job or an opportunity, or even an opportunity like to go somewhere you wouldn't have normally done, or a job that, is really exciting.
I've had multiple, probably my biggest one actually, was I had someone contact me from LinkedIn to do, to price, and there's a kid screaming over there.
They're having fun.
It was for a car, an international car dealership, and I've looked the company up. They found me through LinkedIn, and I've looked their company up after I got the initial email, and they were not a Perth-based sign company. They weren't even an Australian-based sign company. They were an international branding company
Cool.
that does British Airways. They do the signage for companies like British Airways and Shell and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was quite, I was quite speechless to, that this international company has found me, little old Perth Sign Installations, and they want me to take care of their Perth side of it. It's so that's the power of LinkedIn. Not just, I was thinking Australia wide, but yeah, here we go, Earth Sign Installations.
So there probably is some value then in connecting to companies in different countries that you want to work. Well, not necessarily want to work with over there, but who may have clients here.
Yeah.
Or it might be an international company and they want to have one contact, and then you become their contractor through their organisation.
Well, that's it. They need someone, a reliable sign installer in Australia. So, and once you get your foot in the door, then that just expands. I mean, once they've got one, it's cheap. It's easier for them to send you to Queensland or to anywhere in Australia.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about the time it takes to find good staff, especially your industry being quite niche. I mean, a lot of people in your industry are employed by print companies. There's probably not as many people doing it the way you're doing it, freelancing.
Yeah.
So for them to actually find someone to do it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it was. When I realised the scope of this client, I was a little bit, like a deer in the headlights. Just.
That's a cool result.
Yeah. No, that's the power of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You just keep, doing, get out there, and you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's looking.
So if you think about the industry that you're in, if there could be someone out there who needs your services that doesn't know you yet, doesn't know how awesome you are, and that could come from just putting some content out there on LinkedIn, folks. So what kind of things are you doing with your connections that you're finding that's working for you as well?
What I'm actually doing with my connections, because we're all predominantly in the sign industry, and while most sort of people in the industry would look at other sign companies as the competition, I will actually interact with them if they put something up that I'm impressed with. I will like it. I will comment on it, and whatnot, because they're not. We're all in a slightly different niche, and they're not the competition. You've got to, there's ways that we can work together.
That's a great mindset to have as well, because I think things have changed a lot. I mean, back in the day, you'd look at someone doing similar to what you're doing, and go, oh, they're the competitors, don't talk to them. And it's the same with what I do, but I don't have that mindset. I actually look at someone else doing LinkedIn training. So there's an awesome guy in Perth called Daryl Griffin. Hi, Daryl.
Yes, and he's in my industry too. Hi, Daryl.
Actually, yeah, he's like the Venn diagram.
He's
like, there was Venn diagram. He'd be sitting in the middle.
He's like me and you put together.
Yeah. So Daryl's probably, on paper, my closest competitor in terms of his reputation around LinkedIn training and expertise. We've got very, very different backgrounds, but what we've done is I like a lot of his stuff, he likes a lot of mine, and we know what we're doing. So in terms of what you've just said, when you like someone's stuff or you comment on someone's stuff, you're actually gifting them exposure to your network. So do that strategically, do that with consciousness, because if you don't, that can actually reflect on you. So I do, anytime I share Daryl's stuff or even just like it or engage, I know that I'm sharing his stuff with my network. Sure, they could go with him, but my viewpoint is, if someone else does what I do and I respect them, they bring a lot more value to the conversation. I mean, Daryl, like I said, he's known in the signing industry. He's been in that industry for a long, long time. got a very different background to mine, so he brings a lot of value to the point that we've actually created a program together, which we're yet to release, but it's coming out there. But because we can actually work together, and I like to look at it as how can we collaborate, how can we leverage each other's work, and I tend to do that with a lot of people around the world that do LinkedIn training. So it's good to not meet because we know each other, but good to see other people doing that. Whereas I think a lot of people still have that old mindset of, oh no, I can't be seen with that person because you're my competitor.
I've just done that with a job that I've got on at the moment actually, and it's an area that I'm not as comfortable in, and I've contacted another installation company, and it's an area that they're actually perfectly niched in, and so I'm getting them to do that, to do the work for me, and I'm building this relationship with what would be classed as the opposition, but through this, they've reflected back to me that the areas that I'm an expert in are areas that they now back away from because they've had lots of trouble. So now that I'm starting to bring work through them, and I've asked for the same in return, that if they get anything that's in my field, instead of just saying no, we don't do it, bring it through your company and bring it my way, and there will be rewards for them as well. So it's a find where your competition can complement you and where you can complement them, and work with them rather than against them. Oh my God! Look at that! Look.
Oh wow!
They'll just shot up out of the blue.
Wow, God, you can't see what we're looking. I mean, we've been distracted because I just love being out in nature. I love being out by water, and there's fish everywhere.
They all just shot up.
Whoa, and you can't even see them. Oh, did they actually jump out?
No, they didn't. They just came right to the surface. That was incredible.
Oh dear. So we're talking about how to deal with competitors on LinkedIn or really any platform. It applies to everything. If you can have the mindset of how can we help each other and how can we leverage each other's network, then it's a win-win, because if you think about your client, people don't care about you as an expert, they care about them. They care about how you can help them. So, and if you become the one-stop contact point for them, but you know awesome people, which is why I've set up a social media specialist group on Facebook, because then I get to know who the experts are in each niche. So yeah, I do Facebook, I do a bit of Twitter, a bit of Instagram. It's about the strategy and the content, but I'm not an expert in, say, Facebook advertising. So I've got a couple of people in my network who are. One of them is Ming. Hi, Ming. She's awesome. So if they need training on that sort of stuff, or in depth and management, I'm not interested in doing that because it's going to take a lot of energy for me to do it. I don't really want to do it. I've done it before. It's not my fun space, and I'd rather provide someone who is an expert. But in terms of the client, they've come to me and I've solved their problem, and I've connected to someone that's awesome. So I'm quite particular about who I refer to because it reflects on me as well. So I do validate it, and LinkedIn's a great tool for validating who people are.
Yeah.
So if you found,
I've got numerous clients, say based in Queensland, that I've built a relationship with. And they will actually contact me to look for example, they're looking for a sign installer in Adelaide, and they'll ring me because I'm trusted, and getting to know everyone in the field. They'll be like, Mark, do you know anyone? Would you recommend anyone in South Australia?
And that's a massive compliment to you. The fact that you know people and they value your opinion. That's huge. So there's actually massive value in building a network of competitors on paper, because people will come to you and ask you. It just means you're top of mind, especially then if you're sharing content and you're visual, on a regular basis on LinkedIn, so that they'll come to you anyway. So we talk about content. Do you have a defined plan about your content, or is it more? No, I don't like the word ad hoc, but is it more in the moment as things come to you, or do you actually map out a plan? Where does that work for you?
I've done a little bit of a marketing plan, but I haven't really executed it yet. What I'm finding is as things come up, as a problem comes up, then I'm like, now I've sort of trained myself in this area, and when I see them now, I go, oh, there's one, and just create some content on the spot for it. It's not, I haven't really done the whole marketing plan where I can release them. I sort of release them as I make them.
But I suppose with your industry, when your content's around problems are spontaneous. They come up in the moment. But I suppose what then you could do is create the video and then look at your schedule and go, right, say Wednesdays at this time I'm going to release that particular video, and then. But I suppose in your excitement, you might want to release it there and then. So it depends on how planned you are.
Yeah, I'm a bit more excitable than unplanned.
But then that can work well, because I mean, if you try and schedule everything and have a tight plan, that's not, you can feel that it's not, you're not there. Whereas if you are in the moment, well, I just find that people I work with, that's the most engaging content because you are there. But if you try and take your content and use scheduling tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, things like that, yeah, there's certain times that works, but if that's all you're doing, you kind of, you're not in the platform with your people. You're not at that networking event talking to people. You're just, you've got your PA just going, oh, Marc's here. What, you know, Marc's got an article for you to read. That's what they're saying. Where you're physically there having a chat to people. So I think there's value being there. But of course, we can't always be there. So that's where you do need to have a bit of a plan on the back end. Especially if you want to take time off your business. That's having a bit of a plan allows you to be present when you're not there. Or if you're traveling with your business. So I think it's a bit of a combination.
Okay, so that's good. I'm learning from this. This is really cool.
Excellent.
I need a notepad.
I'll send you the bill afterwards. Like if you're, because obviously with your work you do a bit of travel. You're often up north or out in the regional areas installing signs. So how do you make sure that you post while you're traveling?
Sometimes I'm in areas that don't have the coverage, so what I've been doing there just to show that we do travel is like the last one was take a photo of me and the other installers in front of the plane, going, we're flying here to do the install sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when I'm actually up there. I mean, I probably do need to work on my management of it more. So, like, it's something because I've seen the value of LinkedIn. For me now, it's front of mind as soon as I see an idea or a problem that I can talk about or a specific niche. That's front of mind now. It's like, can I record a video about this? And can I do something on LinkedIn? That's the two.
That's awesome. So how did you get to that then? Because I mean, for me, everything's content. I'm looking around going, oh, that's content, or I should take a photo of that because that would go with that kind of quote. My kids think I'm nuts when I'm on a weekend because I'm always taking photos of random things. So, what are you doing, Mum? Because I'm always thinking content. If I'm running, if I've got a meeting with a client, I talk about.
It's a mindset, isn't it? And that's what I've done over the time. Once you could spend your whole life on Facebook and many other platforms promoting, and doing content, but you've got to, time is limited and time is money. So find where your niche, find where it's working, and do that.
So you really need to activate your content mindset. You've got to change the way you think whenever you're around. I mean, like you said, traveling, take a photo of the plane before you're getting on, or having.
Because I can't take a photo. I'm doing a national company signage, which I know that it would send problems through everyone if I started taking photos of the finished signs. But I can still let my people know that yes, we travel around Australia for signs. We'll fly out to a country town for a week. And that's what I'm saying. Well, that's the message I need to get across. Not that I'm doing a nationwide fit out.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're really marketing without marketing. So you're not sort of hitting people ahead going, I'm going to this place to install a sign. You're just talking about where you're going, and the fact that you've got a love for diving.
Yeah.
So I know often you fit your diving in if you're visiting a place where there's a
If I can. Yeah.
Yeah. So even I suppose just sharing the fact that you're going to be diving, straight away people know that you're there for a business reason. So as long as you're not doing that too much, I suppose. Actually, do you do that on LinkedIn? Talk about your diving, or is that purely Facebook?
So I've really incorporated that stuff. Maybe I do, because a lot of my clients that know me now, they always ask me on the phone, so where are you diving next? So it obviously, it does come out of me, and I do talk about it to them.
Actually, and that's leads to another point. A lot of people use LinkedIn as almost like an online CV or a bio or something, which is a bit flat. But people connect to people, as we've mentioned. But people connect. You're looking for things that you're in common. So for me, I mean, if I hear someone's from Yorkshire, I go, oh, cool, where are you from? And you get that sort of rapport building. Or if I hear they're into a particular type of music.
Are you from Yorkshire as well?
Yes!
I'm from Yorkshire too.
E-bike on lass. We don't say that in Yorkshire. Only people on really bad TV shows say But it's that you're looking for that rapport building. If like I said, someone likes the same music, or so do you find that if someone's into diving as well, straight away it's like you're on the same page straight away. So if you can bring that into your LinkedIn profile. So when I help people write their profiles, in the summary I've got a 7-step formula, and step number 6 is adding some personal interests. And that's where you bring in, what do you do after hours? What is it you're passionate about? What drives you? Because if someone's looking through your profile and there's, sign install A, sign install B, sign install A is just a list of achievements, I'm the best, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. And the other one is more about, it's about the ideal client, but it's also, your personality comes through and what you're into. If someone else is into diving, straight away you go, cool, he's like me. So if you can bring that in without going overboard, there's a bit of an art and science to how you do it. So that's something probably you can do with your profile. Bring your diving in a little bit without being Facebook.
That's very. I need my notebook here. This is like a one-on-one marketing session, and
which is what I do. I should invoice you for this session, or you can buy me lunch.
Okay, I'll buy you lunch. Sold.
Sold.
But that's why you need Wildfire social marketing. For the one-on-ones. This is you can go to you can go and watch a presentation, but it's the one-on-one finding your exact. You get so much more out of it.
Cool. That's a testimonial for you. Yeah. So I'll just.
Or if you want a free one-on-one,
I can interview you about what you're doing on LinkedIn, and then we'll discuss opportunities as well. Because, I'm just an ideas person, and once I get into that zone, I'm always thinking content, always thinking about personal branding. So that just is just something that I naturally do. Well, you've got to hang out where your audience are. So these birds here are hanging out where their meal ticket is, which is the fish.
Yeah, it's about being in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. So if you're hanging out on LinkedIn and your ideal clients are on LinkedIn, you've got to be hanging out there, and they've got to. They want to see you.
That's what I'm finding. It's taken, it's taken a little bit of time, a little bit of effort and now it's not a huge amount, but I'm in the right place where the fish are, and I happen to be there, and I'm there every week, and it's just a matter of time before someone sees me, the right person, and it's happening more and more now. It's really
Actually, I'm just thinking of the saying, it is fish where the fish are, but we're not talking about birds. Birds are opportunists. They're looking to catch the fish, whereas a person fishing has a fishing rod with bait. So you're baiting the fish and tricking them.
Yeah, it's not. It shouldn't be called fishing. It should be called tricking.
Tricking. But with LinkedIn, you're not tricking people, but you've got your bait out there, and your bait is your content. It's your interaction, and people will engage with you when they're ready, and they'll, when they can see that you've demonstrated your expertise, or they've got the problem's big enough, and they see that you're there, they'll bite. So, Marc, I want to talk about timing now. So, how long would you spend on LinkedIn? Is it half an hour a day? Is it a weekly thing? So
probably, I will probably go onto LinkedIn and look through LinkedIn for probably 5 minutes every few days, and just scroll through the latest threads and see what everyone else is doing. To keep up the interactions and connections on their side, to show that I'm not just out there marketing for myself. I'm actually looking at, I'm interested in what the opposition's doing.
Yeah.
So that's probably 5 minutes every couple of days, and then whenever I get something front of mind that I think I can use this on LinkedIn, then I'll post that up there as well.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a big
No,
overhead
it's
of
not.
time.
It's not. And once it's set up and once you're there, you just gotta. I've had numerous people in the sign industry they look up to me on LinkedIn and they say, you're really good at LinkedIn. I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I'm not really doing a huge amount on it,
but that's the beauty of it. You don't have to spend a lot of time in LinkedIn, and you don't necessarily have to have this mapped out plan. Yes, some people map it out and schedule, like I said, but that's not necessarily going to get you the biggest results. You don't have to spend a lot, hours and hours. It could just be, the thing is consistency, doing it often enough. So if it's every couple of days, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and if you've got certain things you do, so like checking the news feed, where can you interact and add value, which puts you on their map, and also gives you exposure to their network, and then where can you add some content,
a perfect example of that is we've just recently had the Australian Signing Graphics Association awards over in Sydney,
Okay.
and there were gold, silver, and bronze awards for signage that was done companies all across Australia, and congratulating people on my feed that have won the awards. It's even though they're the opposition and they're doing you can't look at it as, well, I didn't install it, so it must be crap. It's actually I can see what they've done and it's really good, and
And I think that's a big thing to do. If you can actually congratulate your competitors, that shows a lot about how you work and how your mindset is, that you have that abundance mentality as opposed to that scarcity, I own everything and that kind of mentality. Yeah.
I mean, it's been great. One of my clients actually won awards this year, and they actually tagged my name in it because I was part of the installation. So that's a really good proud moment. Even though I don't have the physical award, but just for them to to actually mention me, saying that I was part of it is that's all I need.
So I think if you can give give gratitude where it's due, and using LinkedIn. So one of the features of LinkedIn is you can mention people, which is kind of like tagging people on Twitter or Facebook. So if you want to bring them into the conversation, I mean, so they're saying awesome, well done to you as well as part of the team, which is great recognition. But what they're also doing is they're actually, all the people they've tagged or mentioned, they're actually reaching their network.
Yeah.
So straight away, when you tag someone, or mention, that's what it's called on LinkedIn, you're actually bringing them into your conversation so they're aware you're talking about them. Then they will, if they're listening, talk back, add to the conversation. Their network will see the content and either get engaged themselves or see what you're doing. So it's really important to bring people into your conversation, even your competitors.
Yeah, totally. Your competitors are not your competitors. We look around here. There's 10 food places. You could say that they're all competing for the same people, but some people will come here for the California Pizza Kitchen. Some people will be here for Mexican. And by having them all together in the one spot, they're actually helping each other as well, because
you're feeding a hungry family. That's a great example, because my family, we all like different things. If we're getting takeaway, I don't want to be going to this place, to this place, to this place. It's either one place or nothing. But if you go to a place where everything's, so Chert Hill, there's all the cafes lined up. So we'll go to Subway for a couple of my kids, Zambreros for me and my son, and then Nando's for my husband, and then we get chips. So that's what we do. So if you can do that in your industry, all come together, you're technically competing, you all provide a food. You might even be the similar type of food, but people aren't going to go to the same place all the time. People want variety, and if they're with multiple people, you're giving them that option. You're not the one-stop shop, but you're part of a community then. So if you can do that in your industry, and that's why in the past I've collaborated with people who are essentially competitors. I mean, when I was running the event Digital Marketing Exposed before, there was 4 of us. I mean, we're not direct competitors, but we're all in and around marketing. And it's like this sort of thing. Then you're bringing an event, so people can come to your event and see people, with different skill sets. I mean, video marketing is different to LinkedIn, but you're competing for the marketing dollars. Some people will spend dollars on LinkedIn, some people will spend dollars on Facebook, SEO, blogs, whatever it is. So you're competing in that sense, but you're allowing people to come to you as a collective and also show that you've got that abundance mentality. So, and if you can do that on LinkedIn, awesome.